Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the webinar on the theme Pre-Review in AI Era. It gives me great pleasure to invite our program director, Dr. Purvish Parikh, editor IJMS Mumbai, to give the introduction and context setting. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Himanshi, and welcome everybody. It's really delight to see all of you online in this unusual topic. When this topic was suggested by Natasha, who's a dear friend, and will be moderating the discussion. Natasha has a tremendous amount of experience in the publication of scientific and medical data and research. She is also a professional medical writer, and we are privileged to have her as part of the Indian Journal of Medical Sciences as well. So she, a few weeks ago, she said that this is a topic of interest, and why don't we do something about it? And I jumped at the opportunity because I instantly realized that this is something that I will also learn, and we will have a lot of interesting people who will be willing to join. Since I'm associated with several journals, the South Asian Journal of Cancer, the Indian Journal of Medical Sciences, the Indian Journal of Medical and Pediatric Oncology, the International Journal of Molecular and Immuno-Oncology. So my interest has always been there, and I have been breaking my head while trying to find out good peer reviews. So I think if we can accelerate and hasten the process, there is nothing like it. Before I hand over to Natasha, let me just introduce all the panelists. And if you don't mind, I'm going to call out their names in alphabetical order. So Dr. Karan Sood is a dear friend. He started his medical journey in Kasturba Medical College, and now he is at Navi Mumbai at ACTRAC Tata Memorial Hospital. He is a medical oncologist, and he has been associated with IGMIO, and he is also leading several uh, very good postgraduate oncology programs online. We might be, joined by Kritika Dua, who is from JP Publishers. The next panelist is Dr. Manet Kundavada. He is an orthopedic oncosurgeon, and he's also a dear friend. So mostly you will see that my dear friends are all involved in this in some way or the other. Manet is associated with Kopila Ambani Hospital in Mumbai. And then the next we have Mansi Agarwal. Uh, she is probably the youngest in the panel today, and she is actually a medical student. But even more important is that she is a founder of an organization that is facilitating, discussion, interaction, literature review, publication, online research for oncology, and it's called Nurture Oncology. So I think her experience is going to be very, very important for us. Next in alphabetical order is Dr. Nitin Yasas, who is the quiz master par excellence. And I think that is more important than him being a medical oncologist. And he is a pioneer as far as artificial intelligence. So today we will definitely learn a lot from him. He is based out of Manipal Hospital in Bangalore. Then we have another dear friend, Dr. Padmaj Kulkarni. He is a very senior medical oncologist based out of Pune. And he has been running the Indian Journal of Medical and Pediatric Oncology since long. So I'm sure that he has had a lot of similar experiences, and he would like to, we would like to learn from him as well. Next is Sterling Chaudhary Bala, who is a medical oncologist from Vizag, and he has been working as the executive editor for South Asian Journal of Cancer. So a lot of accolades that I get is because of the hard work that he is putting in the journal. And finally, we have Yashila Gilbert, who's working in Elsevier currently, and she was working with him earlier. So I've had wonderful discussions and interactions with her as well. So you can see that the background of the panelists is extremely wide, I forgot to mention that Manit is a surgical oncologist as opposed to the medical oncologist that you see all the time. And with that, now I hand over to Natasha for the much awaited discussion on the role of AI in peer review, as we know today. Thank you, Natasha.
Thank you so much, sir, for setting the context and also for introducing all of us. Uh, Before we begin on the topic, I would like to first share one thing. Um, I'll just share my presentation. It's just two or three slides. Um, Let me know if you can see it. Yeah, so there was this recently news feature in Nature in 2025 that AI is already transforming peer review, and many scientists are worried. So our discussion today would be about how AI is already transforming peer review and why are scientists worried about it. Isn't it really going to take some, responsibilities or some load off their shoulders? Right. The first poll that I have for all of you here in the panel and others also who are watching is, what's the first word you associate with peer review in AI era? You can take this poll by either joining us at the slido.com number. It's an anonymous poll, or you can scan this QR code and take the poll. It's a live poll. We'll see all the responses here itself once you start submitting some responses. Yes. Yeah, so facilitating, that's wonderful. Some more. Is this worrying? Okay. Evolving, wonderful. Confidentiality question, robotic, assisting, evolutionary, speedy. Okay, wonderful. So yeah, so basically many of you feel that it's going to be a helpful assistant and it's going to revolutionize the peer review process. It's going to facilitate, but along with that, there are some people who are worried about it. The first thing that comes to mind is it going to be worrisome, right? Is it, what cautions do we need to take for this? So I'll stop the poll once we reach only 15 participants. That should be fine. We have 12 already, 3 more, and then we can stop the poll and start our questions. But more or less, most of you are saying that it is facilitating. It's going to help us, right? Assisting. Yeah, wonderful. I'll just stop it here. And you can still continue to poll, but I'm stopping the sharing. We'll start with the questions. So our concern as members of the editorial boards of several journals is that we seldom find suitable reviewers to review the manuscripts. I mean, all journals get lots of submissions. They're overloaded with submissions, but we seldom find suitable reviewers. And it's just about, I think I read a survey somewhere that it's just about 10% of the reviewers on the reviewing panel who do 50% of the work, right? So, but too few reviewers in India. Should AI assist in screening of papers? Is one question that comes to mind. I'll start with Dr. Karan Sood. What do you have to say about this, Dr. Karan?
So first of all, thank you, Purvish sir, for including me uh, and inviting me for this event. I think I take a role more as a as a assistant or joint editor for the IJ MIO, where this question stems from. And I think that people want to do a lot of reviews. People tend to ask that they want to be reviewers for specific journals. But once it comes to the review process, there are some certain loopholes which doesn't allow a person to review it the way they want to, with the ease of access they want to. Firstly, they need to log into the system, they need to understand how that specific system works, then they need to sometimes download that, sometimes they have to do it online. And the comments, the way in which they are supposed to be sent, it makes it all very tedious. And understanding the policy of a certain journal, that also takes time. So it is not like every journal has a similar policy in the way the comments have to be shown, or the way they have to be reciprocated to the author. So that varies. And I think in the midst of so many patients that are being handled by the oncologists in India, that quality of that review is comparatively, I would say, lesser. And it takes more than two reviewers sometimes to actually get the best out of that review. And I have seen it personally that you have to remind reviewers again and again and again and again to get that final product. And even once you get that review done, it becomes a pain for the author to eventually reply to the way the reviewers have given their inputs in the busy time schedule from the OPDs, and in the manner in which they seem legit, that review has to be done. So all in all, I mean, I would say that the review process, including editorial guidelines, journal guidelines, the way the things are supposed to go forward, it's a bit complex
For the reviewers, I agree.
for the reviewers.
Yes, I agree. Dr. Padmaj Kulkarni, would you like to add something to that? The question was, with so few, too few reviewers in India, using AI as an assistant, is it going to help us?
I think I, in a way, concur with what Dr. Karan has said, but I would like to add here. I would see a review process in major two steps. In the first step, there are things which are more or less laid out very well. The type of the article, how it is, how it should be, what are the guidelines, which international guidelines it should be following, what is should be the structure, what statistics should be used. There are many things, the grammar, the style of the journal. There's so many things which are fixed.
Yeah.
And there are certain things which are not fixed, which need to go into the creative potential of the study and the people who are writing. So I think the first part, we should definitely take help of the AI. So as soon as the manuscript is submitted, the AI can immediately check if suppose this is it is original article, then what is the word count, what is the style, is grammar appropriate, does it apply to the international guidelines, does it apply and fit to the journal guidelines, and if there is a problem from itself, it can go back and the authors can revise. So the same applies to PICO and many things which the reviewers is the scare commodity. So they can get a brief from the journal. This is the summary, brief summary, running summary of the manuscript. They can just go through it, and then ultimate responsibility of reviewing and signing off lies with the reviewer. So he is responsible for whatever he is signing up, and there will both the steps, the first step as well as the second step, there will have to be random sampling, there will have to be check and balances, make sure that the AI is not completely being used with its hallucinations and limitations and all that stuff. So there will have to be quality control from the editorial board side, but that's what I think the AI can be helpful of.
Thank you, Dr. Kulkarni. Yes, that was quite insightful. Now I'd invite Dr. Manit Gundatwa to tell us if AI can meaningfully take down the load from reviewers without compromising on the quality.
So,
I mean, Dr.
thank
Kulkarni talked about bringing down the load of the reviewers, but can it do it meaningfully without compromising on the quality?
So absolutely. I mean, I agree with both the panelists before me that there has to be a stepwise breakup. There has to be a triage of submissions, as I would say, that you filter off the poor quality submissions, you filter off scope submissions. These are objective parameters which we can set for the AI model to screen per journal, per reviewer base that needs to be targeted. And obviously the merit base, the scientific novelty, the use of the readership base that the journal caters to, maybe what the manuscript brings into clinical practice, that will clearly be in the hands of the reviewer to decide. So I would say merit will always have to be reviewer based, but a lot of the other noise we can remove the burden from the reviewer's head, that a lot of quality control has been maintained by objective parameters that we can teach the large language models that are there.
Thank you. Yes, that's right. So, Sheila Girdhar, can you add to that? And how is Elsevier or any other publisher for that matter using AI to screen manuscripts? Are the publishers doing it at their end, or how is it done?
I want to add a little opposite of what everyone is saying in the AI period. Definitely, AI is a kind of advanced techniques that we are all are using in our day-to-day life, and also using for the grammatical error and sentence corrections. But using AI for a peer review selection, I am a bit skeptical about it, because AI is not much reliable till now. I have used even with the Elsevier also, because if you first of all, it's a credibility issue with the AI, right? And what is credibility issue? Because the AI, the results of AI are always optimistic. If you give any manuscript to the AI tool, he always give you a positive response about the manuscript. Yes, it may give you some errors that yes, this is wrong, but you can proceed with the manuscript. At the end, it's always the positive, which is I a bit feel it's not right, and the quality has been compromised with that. For my perspective view, as a publisher perspective view, the human involvement is important in the EIs, especially for the decision, especially to make a decision on the manuscript, right? AI can be helpful with to assist us to reduce the time, but we cannot solely depend upon the AI at this stage, at least.
At this stage, you say we cannot depend on AI completely.
Yeah,
Human intervention is required. This is what
very important, very
all the four
important, at
panelists
least
before
right
that
now.
said. Yes, thank you.
Yes.
So, Dr. Nitin Yashas, maybe you could tell us, have you used AI in peer review for any of the journals that you peer review for? I know we've been using AI for generating content, but for peer reviewing, have you used it ever?
Right. No, to be very frank, no, because I put myself in the shoes of the person who has submitted the article, and I think we all need to go back and understand uh, why is peer review so valued as such. And so for example, if I've written to a journal and I want Dr. Purvish or Dr. Padmach to review and give me suggestions to improve my manuscript, I would be wanting their reviews. Now, if AI gives me that, I'm going to be disappointed. So I came across this very, very interesting journal called Research Integrity and Peer Review. And in fact, in 2025 April, there's a person by name Nicolas Vecchio who has published his experience with peer review. And he says that this was much before the era of LLMs, in fact, where public in possibly somewhere in 2023, where he has said that the reviews he got back was purely AI generated, and it was not at all helpful, not at all constructive. In fact, there is a study which has been done, I think, by computational data scientists in UK, and I think it came in the Nature article which you showed in your first slide, which said that only about 40% said that using AI for peer review provided more insights than what a human being could do. And another 40% said it is of some help as such. So, very clearly, I would agree with what Yashila is saying, that at this point of time, AI in peer review is not there yet. You need to go back to what Dr. Padmat said and use it for very, very specific, what I would possibly say are the clerical aspects of peer review. But otherwise, it's not really going to function the role of peer review, which is to essentially improve your manuscripts, give constructive criticism, and highlight the flaws as such. Very interestingly, in Nature, just 3 days back, there's a article which is published, and it says that there's a new software which has come called, or rather, Pangram Labs, which has looked at more than 46,000 abstracts. And surprisingly, they have said the AI usage in peer review without declaration has increased. And this is by the AACR, which is the American Association of Cancer Research, and they have banned the use of AI for peer review. But despite that, it has found almost, I think, about 10 to 15% people using AI for peer review, and it is frowned upon. So while AI can definitely be used for generation of manuscripts, I don't think it is there in the sort of intelligent way that we think it is to give reviews for manuscripts.
Especially, I think, when you have something novel to publish and AI doesn't have the data to compare it with. Right?
Absolutely. And I think we need to understand here that intelligence is sometimes an overrated word when we talk about AI. It is possibly, I'm not finding the right word at this point of time, but it's just essentially going back on the data that you have fed. So this is where a bias would come, like you rightly pointed out, against novel data. How is it going to evaluate novel data? Now, for example, Tata Memorial published a practice changing paper on low dose immunotherapy. I wonder how AI would have reviewed the paper, because till that paper came out, there was no data on low dose immunotherapy. And in fact, would it have rejected it, saying that this is not standard of care? So these are the thoughts that run in our head when we talk about AI doing peer review, and whether it can actually generate the constructive criticism that is needed to improve a manuscript.
Absolutely. But talking of the triage that Dr. Padmaj and Dr. Karan had already mentioned about during their discussion, Dr. Stalin, what do you think? I can't see Dr. Stalin's. Okay, yeah. So, Dr. Stalin, what do you think about what aspects of the manuscripts are the ones that we can at this point outsource to AI, and what aspects should still remain?
Good evening. Thank you, Purvish, sir, for giving me this opportunity, madam. So I agree with the comments by Dr. Padmat sir and the all other panelists, because I have been in the editorial board of the SAJC since 2 years. It is extremely difficult to find the reviewers to get reviewed the articles in time and to get back to the author. So it is, if you ask me, it will become an Herculean task for the editor. So especially when the journal is receiving a lot and lot more of articles per day, so it is very difficult even to trace them and to get back to the authors at the earliest point of time. So I strongly agree with the comments by Padmat sir that especially although we can't exactly rely on the AI for the entire acceptance or rejection of the manuscript, at least for the initial triage format, at least for checking the grammatical content and whether the images were manipulated or not, or whether the references and formatting of the article is perfect or not, at least the statistical concerns are met or not, at least for the initial triaging of the article, especially we can use the AI, especially for a journal which has a heavy load of articles receiving per day.
Yeah,
but final decisions, it should be humanly made by an expert in the field, and the acceptance and rejection should be through a proper peer review process. At this point of time, we can't rely completely on AI.
Thank you. So, only recently, I think today I had a strong debate with somebody on LinkedIn about the delay that journals, I mean, the delay that occurs when an author has already submitted an article and waits for the article to move from editorial desk to peer review, right? That doesn't happen very quickly either, because you need to find peer reviewers. Now, coming to Dr. Mansi, as a young researcher, what do you think you would want your paper to be? I mean, how would you want your paper to be handled? Which parts would you want to be, AI assisted peer review, and which parts would be human assisted? I mean, human led peer review, not human assisted.
Ma'am, first of all, I would like that if I'm the author, so I would expect the journal to be transparent with me, that whether it would be using AI or whether it won't be using AI. And then coming to the parts where AI could be used, before that, to ensure the confidentiality, I think if the journal has a contractual agreement with the developers of the AI that the data would be encrypted or masked, then I don't have a problem with like peer reviewers or the editorial board using it to assess the rigor of my results or the data set, because they are giving me an agreement. They have a contract between the people who have made the AI that they won't use it for their large language model learning, okay, or training the data set. If I get that, then I don't have any problem with if even if they review the entire manuscript, but I want it to be used as an assistant rather than the decision maker. Definitely, I tried, like, before submitting my own articles to journals, I tried reviewing it myself, that whether it could go wrong, where it would be fine. So I found that the methodological area, like where we write methodology and the statistical part, that is where not every researcher or reviewer is comfortable with. I feel so, because we all are doctors. We don't master in statistics. So AI can speed up that part. That whether this study is statistically sound, whether the study is missing any kind of statistical test, whether the p values are not written, whether the materials are mentioned correctly or not. That is one area, but only if the confidentiality agreement is there in place. The intellectual areas, like the introduction part, the discussion part, I find that AI still lacks there a bit, because for writing a strong introduction, it should be good enough that the reader could be hooked to read for going through the rest of the article, and the discussion part should be relevant clinically, and only experienced human beings or doctors can write a good enough discussion on drawing out why the results are compatible with our day-to-day practice. So
Yes,
that's
Yeah, so I have a quick comment actually. I mean, wonderful point, Mansi, that data masking and data encryption. I mean, I did not think about that, but I mean, to counter that, if you see the amount of articles coming in, with the amount of AI being generated by the author itself, how do you think taking that haystack, taking that needle out of the haystack that one author has originally written, all of that concept through and through, doing all the PubMed search,
Yes, please go ahead.
or then writing it everything by hand, and then eventually I think barely, sorry, I was saying, so barely out of 100 people, maybe 5 people right now are writing their full manuscripts by their own. Most of the data being generated, the outlines are being generated by AI. Once those outlines are generated, even the titles of the articles are being generated by AI. The methodology section, the statistics people are doing by AI. For the discussion part, people are putting in articles into paid AIs like Perplexity, ChatGPT Pro, and then taking out. So as an editor or maybe as a reviewer, how do you think, Mansi, that you can tackle this situation of this confidentiality, masking, encryption? I mean, a straight question to you.
I think, sir, this is a very broad topic and could be the possible area of discussion for our next panel. But I didn't think it in that way. Maybe establishing proper guidelines in this way that journals from the very starting point, the journal should be very clear to the reviewers and the authors in the areas where they have to use and where they don't have to use AI. And upon the data encryption and data masking part, involving more technical, what is it, technical people who can be assisting the journal to ensure the confidentiality would be helpful, because um yeah, that's all I have to say.
So you think
Karan, if
just
I can, if
yeah, just
Karan,
one
sorry, if I
thing,
can,
just one thing,
if
sir. Just one quick thing. I mean, most of the declarations that the author these days give for AI, they say that GPT or large language models weren't used so that in the first place, those manuscripts don't get rejected. I feel that most of my peers, like I would say probably upwards of 90%, they do not disclose that they are using, AI. uh, and once it comes on to the dashboard of any journal, let's say IGMIO, when I do the technical the technical thing I do, and then I need to look at the plagiarism, I need to look at how much percentage of AI that has done, then I open it up and then I actually see that does this AI actually translate to something meaningful, or does this plagiarism actually translate to actual plagiarism, has the author self quoted him. So I think it's a mix and match of both the things. And as you move forward, people are going to make most of the manuscripts AI generated. They are going to go back, put their brains in, modify it using paraphrasing, do some humanizing on it. And it's an easy work. You can do a review article in 2 days. Who doesn't want to do that? Who doesn't want to get published? Who are the true people who are actually putting up that effort to write a manuscript from the scratch? I would probably say very few. And in an area in India where we don't have our own large language model input, I would say getting to the data from the West, this thing is so distorted that commenting upon the fact that these things need to be encrypted, masked, people should not use AI. I think we are way beyond that at the current point.
Yes,
In
so
fact,
adding to that, I think that's where human peer reviewers come into the play. Because what we are talking about right now is maybe relying on the AI, but as said before, the final decision should be with human peer reviewers, whether
That's
the
absolutely true.
responses
That's
generated
absolutely true.
by the AI,
But
they
I
should have
can't
a
tackle. But I
yeah.
can't tackle someone who's used AI by my brain. It's way beyond my brain limits to see a transcript that has been generated by AI. And every sentence that I read from an AI feels like, wow, this is amazing. This makes so much sense. But then once you go back and see, it's all AI generated. It's all plagiarism. So it will take a sword for a sword. Yes, once you get to know who did what, then probably the human mind or the intelligence can come in, and it can take over and maybe stratify things. But yes, as Dr. Padmat said, that for the fixed editorial processes, before peer review, in the technical modification section, triaging, this is
we can
wonderful.
use.
In the peer review, I am very sure
In
this
fact,
thing is going to
coming
take
to
up.
your point, Dr. Karan, about
Actually, Dr. Nitin wanted to say
detecting AI.
something.
Now,
Dr.
now there
Nitin
is
wanted to say something.
yes,
Please
I'll come to
allow
Nitin
him.
immediately.
Yeah.
So, in fact, 2 days back, I think Turnitin has launched an AI anti-AI detector, anti-AI humanizer, right? So if you have used AI and humanized it, even that can be detected by AI now,
So
right? So
that has
Turnitin
been
is
there in I Authenticate, which scientific
yeah,
scholar
authenticate
uses,
and Turnitin. Yeah.
and Turnitin Pro
Yeah.
and everything. I mean, these things are there already. It's just that
Yes.
the person who's submitting the manuscript needs to know.
Yes. So
I wanted to add as
I'll come to you, Sheila. Just 1 minute. Let's have Dr. Nitin's comment. He had something
Dr.
to say.
Nitin's, yeah,
that.
please. I think his picture
Dr.
is
Nitin?
frozen.
Okay, his picture's frozen. Yeah, Sheila, you can go ahead, please.
actually, I want to add more into Dr. Karan's statement as in a publisher view. And yes, it is that if you use any free AI tool or other AI tool that are freely available, there is a 100% chances of leakage of data, which is even in the publisher house like Elsevier are not allowed to do use. And if and secondly, the publishers do have some policies regarding the AI tools right now. I've shared the link to Dr. Natasha as well. If what are the different policies of publishers for the reviewers and for the authors and even for the publisher as well. So we are all as a publisher, we stick to that also. And even right now I'm working on books. Whenever I get the proposals, it is clearly mentioned that we right now the proposal are not accepting by using the AI tools, because we are looking for the humanized proposal right now. It is at this stage the publisher are still accepting is skeptical using AI entirely.
Thank
Right.
you.
And for the data masking also, the even not the publisher Elsevier, but other publishers are also trying to use in-house AI tools which are to be protected and which is just limited to the data limited to the Elsevier database or in any publisher database within that, so that the proposal or the manuscript, we can say, the data we add into the tools I shouldn't leak in the worldwide. This is what I, even the previous comment I said, the credibility issues with the using the AI tools.
Yeah. Dr. Nitin, coming back to you, you had some comments.
Yeah. So I just wanted to say that, as the
there's some issue there.
Yeah, unable to hear you, Dr. Nitin. I think
Dr. Nitin,
your
your
network
voice
is
is not
probably,
clear.
yeah.
Yeah. So maybe we can move to Dr. Stalin in between. So Dr. Stalin, what do you think about the ethical risks that arise when AI is used for manuscript evaluation also? I mean, the first triaging also. Is Dr. Stalin there? If not, we can take it to Dr. Manit. Dr. Manit, you could provide.
Actually, for especially,
Yeah.
I don't think for especially for the initial triaging purpose, there won't be much of ethical considerations, at least, because we are not checking, in fact, the entire scientific content of the article. We are checking whether the article is in a proper format or not, and whether it is properly written or not. So that is the basic principle. Every article need to be fulfilled, and we are checking that only. We are not exactly going into the, and especially for initial triaging, I don't think there won't be much issues of the ethical concerns. But for the final acceptance or rejection of a manuscript and final evaluation of the manuscript, as of today, till now, what we have discussed is it may not be not completely ethical to take AI into account and decide upon the article. And somebody has already discussed about the confidentiality breaches if manuscripts are uploaded into the these all commercial AI systems. Definitely, that will always be a concern, and that comes under the breach of the ethics while we are using AI for the final acceptance or rejections of the article. For the initial triaging, I don't think because it is needed, because we know that from the editor's perspective that I had only a handful of reviewers who can help me out in need and who can really do the work at a faster pace so that I can communicate with the article. So especially, at least what I can say is initial triage, but definitely it can help us.
Yes. Dr. Padmaj Kulkarni, your inputs on who should be accountable if an AI-assisted peer review misses any error or allows any flawed science to be published?
Somebody who has signed is responsible.
The human is responsible.
Human is responsible. So, as I said, when I was, there was an era, some of us have seen that era when we wanted to write an article, we used to go to library and then see the cross references by getting the cross references of the cross references. Then came an era where we used to go to NIC to get a print of PubMed abstracts and list of the articles. They used to charge us 10 rupees per page. And you just give them 3 keywords. They used to put the keywords in the PubMed, and then they used to give us some 110 pages, what we just get now just with a click. So the world has moved ahead and the world has started using AI. So we cannot prevent it. Now, the issue is how we make use of it in a right and appropriate way. So it is important ethically. It is not right when the AI doesn't know a thing, it gives an opinion. So the responsibility of using a tool, how I use my computer, how I use my driver, how I use my PA is up to me. If I am going to be responsible, I can take help of my AI to it's fantastic. It just goes through the whole book in a fraction of a second. It gives me a summary, but then I should not give an opinion based on a summary. I should your AI is as good or as bad as your prompts. So you have to give right prompts. So if I ask you the AI, how is this? It is, it is good. But then I say, no, tell comment about the statistics, compare with the best the trial, and give me a comparison table for this study and the 5 best studies in on this topic. Then it has to work properly, and then you can compare. This is the way AI should be used, and then you convince yourself that the whatever references AI gives, they are there. So you ask the AI to give me a citation for this, and then after at the end of it you are convinced, then you sign it off. If that happens, this is a fantastic tool.
Yes, thank you, thank you. Dr. Manik, do you want to add something to that?
Yes, so I would like to say, I mean, this is very useful. Like Padma just said, that we are in an era where AI is taking over a lot of functions, a lot of our daily use AI. We use AI for a lot of stuff routinely. So this is going to help us to be more informed and do our job in a better way. But like Mansi said, we should be transparent and we should declare it that this is what the AI is going to do. And to the best of the journal's knowledge or the board's knowledge, this will be confidential and we will only share what is required, like for grammatical stuff or scientific statistical stuff. So we, as long as personal data is not leaked, I think this is extremely useful and we should use it with the right guidelines within the right, limitations that it has.
Yeah, so I think I'm back on.
Yes.
Yeah. So just coming to the point which Dr. Karan and Dr. Mansi were making, I think as an author, if I put in my data into the LLMs, it becomes my responsibility. I understand the risks. But as a publisher or a peer reviewer, if I'm doing it without the author's guidance, I am liable to face anything that charges that they may throw at me. Which is why, again, like Yashila has been saying, if we upload any novel concept of research paper as a peer review into the publicly available LLMs, I don't think we are doing justice to the author, because you're uploading it to the cloud, you're giving this data for the LLM to be trained on without the author's permission. Now, if you're being upfront, like Manit was mentioning, that even for the entire manuscript, I am going to upload this manuscript into a publicly available LLM, that is fine. But as an author, I must have the choice to say that, hey, this publisher is going to use publicly available LLMs to check my manuscripts. I am not okay with it. Because today you upload it and tomorrow, even before publication, someone else comes to know about this idea because of the LLM, and there's a very good chance that they will know. I don't think we are doing justice. So I think what Dr. Karan was mentioning, I think there's a very fine line. Yes, as authors, many are using AI for generation, but that is at the risk of the author, which they are doing with full sort of autonomy, so to speak. But as manuscript editors or peer reviewers, we shouldn't be uploading into public LLMs. The one way to get around this is if publishing houses develop their off-ground LLM, which is not on the cloud. And then if you run it, to reduce time. There's something very, very interesting that I came across, and that is called as the size score, which is an automated assessment of, in fact, how good or robust scientifically or how novel an article is. Now, if these things are carried out from an offline process, that would be the best way to reduce the workload and automate the processes that Dr. Padmaj was talking about. But definitely at this point of time, we have too many ethical issues if we start using public LLMs for other authors' peer review.
Yes.
Just
And
one more
think-
thing to add to
Yeah.
what Dr. Nitin said. So, I mean, it's just a matter of time. Let's say the manuscript gets, submitted by the author. Everything is like foolproof. No LLMs used. The article gets published maybe by the end of this month. By the end of this month, I am going to upload that article onto the LLM to go for a summary, and that data is going to be on the public domain. So it's just a matter of time.
Correct.
Yes, but the ethics of it, yes, the
Yeah,
ethics of
but
it
the
has
correct
to
thing
be
is, after it is out in the public
out
domain,
in the
and
public
put
domain.
it on LLM is completely
Correct,
different
correct,
than before.
correct.
yes.
But
Yeah,
but the
by-
only thing is, it's just a matter of time, and it's inevitable. We are just a few days or few months before we were like AI nahi use karna, but now it's like, where can we find the use? And it is only going to develop more.
Yeah, that's what
we-
actually I was trying to say, that no, it's like an addiction. If you try to ban it, people are going to use it more and more. So you need to use it properly. Like as Yashila and Nitin has said, the issue is absolutely spot on. You need to have an AI model which is protected, encrypted, and local. But then, how many people can go for it? So you need to train the peer reviewers how to use it. Like if you want to use AI, you need to have your own subscription. You have to make sure the AI, like ChatGPT, it stores the data for 30 days for security purposes. But then if you in your settings, you mention that you don't want it to be used for training and training purpose, then it does not keep the summary. It does not keep the history. It just deletes the data from your logs. You are not able to see it, but it is there at the back end, and then it is deleted at the end of 30 days. But that gives you some control over it is being not used. Having said that, I think what the initial trials team, uh, if they don't have a local AI available, the trials team can segregate the uh, articles into run-of-the-mill articles and novel articles. The novel articles should not be used by AI, so we will have to create a category wherein we will have to clearly instruct the reviewers that this should not be used, and they will have to agree to this while they are signing off the invitation. Otherwise, it may have legal repercussions also. If that is what is, nobody will do that. If you tell them that this will involve litigation, nobody is going to do that. So something like that needs to be done so that we use the AI appropriately without jeopardizing the privacy of the people.
So it's time for journals to have newer policies for peer reviewers on how they can or cannot use AI to assist
Dr.
them.
Natasha, I also wanted to add something here. We are just discussing one issues that AI has been creating. That is what the data security.
Yeah.
There is another issue that AI be generating the credibility of the results. We are not getting, sometimes we are not getting the result what we desire from the AI. For example, I added the manuscript and asked that key, what do you see in that manuscript, or find out that what is the bad things or good things about that manuscript, and what do you say if this is manuscript is uh, okay for publishing in the SAGC journals or the journals that in which we have published. He always gives the positive response. He always says that yes, the manuscript has this flaws, but if it can be overcome, you can be published. AI can never give the criticisms or the reject the manuscript, and it always the and always give you the what it's kind of optimist. He is always optimist. And second point is that if there's someone I will get back to you, Dr. Karan. If someone wants to find out the peer reviews, and as Dr. Purvish Sarvi has mentioned that there is a difficulty to find the reviewers for any journals. If you use AI, you always 90% of the time he gives a fake name. I tried it myself with my experience. I'm just sharing it that I tried to find the reviewers, but 90% of the times I get the fake names. If you go and Google it, it always give a fake. So these two are also most important issues that AI is been lack of.
But I think AI can be trained to
Yes.
select.
Yes,
And
yes, it
as
can be trained. It can be trained, but you have to use the appropriate prompt that you have for the AI. And it might also be a time taking process to train the AI. And sometimes we just see to the time we take to train the AI, it feels like why don't I find myself
Uh,
before I train the AI? Yes, it.
adding to Sheila ma'am's like comments, I would say that ma'am, it largely depends on which model is being used actually. Because I have observed that
Hmm.
optimism is a largely like seen with Chat GPT, whereas if you go with other AI models like DeepSeek,
Hmm.
it will give you a thorough review and
Yeah.
the detailed flaws. Like this is wrong. You won't
Yes,
encounter
it
this
gives.
flow
It
like
gives. Yeah,
does.
I agree with you, Mansi. It gives the flaws. But
uh,
what is
uh,
this? It will be assist you to find the flaws, but it never gives you the final decision.
See,
Yes,
the
and
AI,
final
the
decision
AI,
would be
Evis had
required.
a reviewer finder. Well, I came across something that there is a reviewer finder and that it uses Scopus data to recommend reviewers. Maybe that is one of the answers where there's a shortage of reviewers that it is. But any thoughts on that or any knowledge of that, Yashila?
Actually, I have used the Scopus AI only, and the AIs that we are allowed to use as a publisher. So I tried to other ones, but still we are not skeptical about the others using the data to leak in that.
Most editorial management software or platforms that we use, they also suggest reviewers, right? Even with you know IGMS, for example, sir, when we ask for suggestion of reviewers, there is a list of reviewers which are suggested based on that particular manuscript. So yeah, it's already inbuilt into the system. So it's happening.
yeah, we have been using these systems, and now because we are using AI and it is new, they are being highlighted. I think we have been using like Gmail. I think there's nothing private. There's nothing private
Yeah.
once you are on the web. There's nothing private. So what is important is it need to be regulated. So if you want to use say ChatGPT, the publisher needs to have a contract with the ChatGPT. The one-to-one contract is like enterprise version, wherein
Yep.
they assure you of the privacy. That's what is important. So you need to just regulate it. So the publisher has whatever it could be a Perplexity AI or whichever AI. You need to develop tools. You need to have a localization for software for your use depending on which region you are working, and then you legalize it. That is the way to go ahead rather than just cribbing, because people have started using already, and if people don't know how to use it, it's likely to be more problematic rather than not regulating it.
I think, sir, here what the midway here is, or the solution to this is, if coming to the training part, which was mentioned earlier by ma'am, Natasha ma'am. So if we give developed prompts to the reviewers, that these are the prompt checklist sort of, that these would be detailed prompts which can you use for review, it would solve the problem of training or the results of AI not being credible, or these kind of steps that how if you're proceeding with AI, then how you have to proceed with it, like the final when you reach the final stage, how you have to review the comments by AI. That would be very helpful, and like reduce the dependence upon prompt engineer or the training part. It would ease out the stuff. In fact, there's this software called there's a Jeep or like a LLM model called as Brainer, which gives you detailed prompts for the problems you have, so which can work in GPT.
So, just a note to the audience here. If you have any questions that you would want to be answered during our Q&A session, please keep writing your questions in the chat box. We'll take up those questions in the Q&A session. Now, coming to Dr. Manit, do you think the use of AI is going to create a divide between tech-enabled reviewers and traditional reviewers? And how do we go ahead and close that gap if there is going to be a gap?
So I think we've already discussed how AI is being frowned upon by some reviewers, but I would say that it is the future. We should accept it. We just need regulations. We need to, like Dr. Parma said, we need to legalize it. Now the question is, if we legalize reviewers, every stage should be legalized, like writing a manuscript, submitting a manuscript, reviewing a manuscript, accepting a manuscript. There's a lot of stages that need to be fit into that legalization and all of that. But I would say be transparent. We tell the authors that this is what we're going to use it for, because today all journals have a plagiarism check, which is basically an online software, and they are uploading the data online to check whether it has already been published, which is a type of AI without the use of the word chat GPT.
Yes.
So there is a spell check, which is a type of AI without the use of the word chat GPT. So it's been there. It's just now on a big cloud and big name, so everybody is aware of it. But I think legalizing it and making it standard is what is the future. But also being transparent, and then every step should fall into, if there's a completely AI generated manuscript, you don't expect the reviewer to be true to himself and look for plagiarism if the entire manuscript is plagiarized. So every step will have to be equally regulated. That is what I would say is, but I don't think it will be frowned upon in the future. Maybe it may be now.
I think to summarize the entire discussion, it's time we, accept that AI is going to be a part of our life. It's already a part of our life. We need to accept that we need to learn how to use AI and use it ethically. And we have to be more intelligent than the artificial intelligence, right? Now I have a short.
Just one thing. I mean, we want to move ahead, but how do Indians, recapitulate data on Western studies or Western inputs? I mean, uh, it is never going to happen unless we have our own AI, we have our own data, we have our own feedback, and we have our own query system. And I think Dr. Nitin has had couple of conferences in which he has spoken about how to train your GPT. And it's basically an extension of yourself, and your my GPT will never give you the answers that your GPT gives it to you. And the amount of articles that I put into a GPT will never give you the same amount of answers. So I feel it is an extension of you. How you use it is up to you. And the whole process, which, as everyone has said, and as Dr. Manit has said as well, but I totally agree with Dr. Padma here that, legalization and contractual basis and all that needs to be done. But this is an unregulated space, and this thing cannot get regulated anytime soon.
So I would like to put a quick comment here. As Karan said, वो मेरी सारी इसकी सारी के सफेद कैसी, तो my LLM is better than your LLM is not like that actually. See, the ChatGPT is a machine, but it depends on what version it is. Then whether it is probabilistic model or whether it is stochastic model, then what is the temperature of that ChatGPT. So there are too many technical things. See, because it is trained in a way to be optimistic. It is trained in a way so that it chooses the most probable version. So, but if you use the two ChatGPT's versions with exactly same parameters, all software, hardware parameters are the same. The temperature is the same. If everything technically is the same, then you are likely to get the same answer for your prompt at both the places. What now happens is, if when you start talking, when you because you're trained it in such a way, that's why you personalize. What you say is personalized because it knows what you like, and that's what the one of the fallacy in AI driven peer review is going to be. If once I review article and the ChatGPT knows that, I don't like German reviewers, or I don't like German articles, and if the article submitted, the authors are German, it will automatically try to be on the right side of me. So it will say the article is not good, there are so many bad things it might say. So that's a fallacy here.
Yes.
But
Just
actually,
one thing.
so
Yeah.
Sam Altman came out with a tweet yesterday. Very interesting tweet. You can customize how ChatGPT responds to you now. You can even give a personality. So, for example, the screenshot he has put, you can make ChatGPT a nerd. You can make it a geek, and even you can say what word you want it to avoid. Do you want it to be witty? Do you want it to be straightforward? Do you want it to be encouraging? So all this is going to come out according to Sam Altman over the next couple of days. But that's with regard to ChatGPT. Yeah, I mean, he's taking the personalization level to a completely new level, and there's actually a lot of philosophical uh, conversations going around it. Is AI a reflection of us, or is AI shaping us? The completely going into the Advaita philosophy also. But I don't think we should be talking about ChatGPT or LLMs for peer review yet. We need to look at making it's like saying going to a general physician for oncology problem. We need to have specialized LLMs which are going to assist in peer reviews. It is about building foundational data model sets which are going to help in peer reviews. The new Nature article, which I spoke about, Panagram is built only for that, trained on 42,000 abstracts. So the same way, we should probably look at generating an Indian data set, which is trained on all the thousands and lakhs of Indian papers, so that it focuses and gives us response like how an Indian reviewer would.
Just one more thing. I mean, yesterday there was an article which I was just trying to look through for this webinar, and that's from Cornell. And this was highlighted in the, Chat GPT, which said that, you can decrease the hallucinations. And there is a specific command which I might want to read out for you guys. So it said that, ask the GPT that answer only if you are more than 75% confident. Since mistakes are penalized, 3 points while correct answers receive, and if they are not correct, there'll be only 1 point. So if you give this kind of a query or a input to the GPT, so it will stop hallucinating, because GPTs are built on the fact of reward, and the reward is basically being checked at the level of comparisons. When they compare on the internet various models, then they see how much positive value has that specific LLM model has given. So no one wants to get an answer I don't know from a GPT. So GPT will always guess. And it is built on that probabilistic model that, whatever it says is confident enough for you to say it out in the public. If it is not confident, if it says I don't know, you will never use it. And for a matter of fact, even for our seniors, or for me, for my juniors, if I say that I don't know, if people raise their eyebrows that he doesn't know, we might probably not go to him for a solution. And that's how things are. So we need to train our GPTs very well. We need to know what prompts have to be put. We need to, if you're reviewing an article, probably you need to put in 100 PDFs, not the abstracts, 100 PDFs for that specific subject, train that model, give the queries, take out what is the best for that article, and then review it. I think that takes time. I mean, for cheating also, you need to be a little bit more thoughtful. I mean, blatant cheating without thinking might not lead, and would probably give you the stuff that we are talking about.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Karen. So the gist of it is artificial intelligence at the end of the day is artificial. We need real intelligence from humans to do the peer review, right? So I'll open the floor now for questions from the audience. Anybody who has a question or a comment to add, you can raise your hand and we'll unmute you to ask your question. Yeah, Dr. Manit, please go ahead.
No, I think this is a very good platform. We are all associated with great journals. Dr. Purvish Parikh is here. I mean, this is the perfect opportunity. We all want to train our GPTs. We should look at all manuscripts that have been reviewed before 2020 by human reviewers and maybe just train a model and see what the outcomes are. Maybe like 10,000 manuscripts across journals pre 2020. They're all published. They're all open. There's no confidentiality issue. There's no copyright issue. Maybe we should use this opportunity and just pull out these reviews and manuscripts and put it in a model and see the outcomes.
Dr. Purvish, your take on that.
I am totally flawed. I suddenly realized that I don't know enough to, guide anybody. And I think the various discussions that have come out make it clear that the only way forward is to take the middle path. There is nowhere in the world that people will not use artificial intelligence. In Italy, ChatGPT was banned for a while, and then within a month they had to revise the decision. So whether we like it or not, people are going to use. Now, how to do that in a ethical manner or in a manner in which we have the least risk to either the author or the journal, that is how we have to focus on. So I think what Padma said is clearly a balanced view that I like, but I do realize that I have absolutely zero knowledge about this whole thing is concerned. And since Shashila is here and she gave the context from the publisher's point of view, I think it's really been an eye opener for me as well. Back to you, Natasha.
Just to sort of tell what Manit was saying, in the Panagram study, they did look at studies which were done before 2021, and it flagged possibly some 7 abstracts and did not find anything with regard to AI generated pre 2021-22 as such. But post that, and it's been sort of apparently trained on 28 million human documents, including 3 million scientific papers. That is what Panagram is. Now, whether this has been trained on Indian data and Indian manuscripts as well, we really don't know at this point of time. But definitely a very good suggestion. Again, with Dr. Purvish also we have been discussing, and sir made a very nice point almost a year back about the case in US where 2 judges used AI to deliver a verdict. And when we are sitting here as peer reviewers or editors, we are pretty much in the judge's case, and the judges used ChatGPT to frame a judgment, and it gave them fake judgments and citations. And again, a lot of bias and limitations. I still remember Dr. Purvish talking about it at a conference. Hopefully, we don't land that up in the publishing space. And like all the other panelists have said, AI is here to stay, but how we use it and what we use it for to supplement our own wisdom and intelligence is going to be the way forward.
We have a very relevant question from one of our audience members, Dr. Kokil Mathur. She asks, should regulatory bodies and mandatory AI certification for reviewers now become mandatory? Should regulatory bodies and AI certification for reviewers now become mandatory?
I
And
think
should bodies be created for it now?
if we are asking authors for an AI acknowledgement, the similar should be applied for peer reviewers.
A disclosure that they have used AI.
Yeah, and like we ask authors that specify the LLM models you're using and where. So if we do the same with peer reviewers, the transparency, the more the transparent process would be, the more trust we can build with it and move forward.
This is
Yeah, I
about
think,
disclosure. I think her question is a little different. It's about, is it time that we start training programs, certification programs, and create a regulatory body that regulates how AI is going to be used in peer review?
See, I think if you think about it, it sounds a reasonably good idea. The problem is beggars are no choosers. The whole idea of today's discussion, the opening statement was that we don't have peer reviewers. So if you want to torture them with so many things, I think they're going to even go down. The number is going to go down, and then we will be left only with the AI to do peer review. So I think regulating does not regulate as such, but we'll have to train them, motivate them, so that we have to tell them that this is going to reduce your work. It will give your intellectual challenge to do your work in a sphere where you will spare time, but you will enjoy it. That's how it is going to go. If you try to regulate, if you want to punish, if you want to say, no, if you do that, you will do this, I think people will just stay away from doing peer reviewing.
It is not about the regulations, but we do have some policies regarding the peer review and authors as well for the both ways. So we need to be stick to that policies to make some transparency to the authors as well.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'll take Mansh's word for that. That we need to ask reviewers also to disclose if they are using AI for any part of peer review.
Yes, definitely.
And maybe even if it's not there in the policy, as ethical peer reviewers, it is our duty also as peer reviewers to disclose that to the editor. When we have our editors, a note to the editor and a note to the author, we can put that in the note to the editor. Any other questions?
So, Dr. Natasha, I just wanted to, share our poll results, which we did on our group, and
Yes.
just to highlight a few things. So, we were 10 eligible respondents, out of which only 8, gave their answers, which was 80%. And, using AI for usual practice, it is 62%. That is 5 out of 8 people, do that. So even we are using, AI in a regular means. So imagine, for the ease of access for doing something as a reviewer, it must be higher than that. So, 2 people said on and off use, that's 25%, and one said that others. So that's Dr. Nitin, and I'm really eager to know what others meant by him in his response.
Yeah, so I didn't use, so I still don't use, despite my quite a bit of involvement with AI, I don't use it for anything where my opinion is required. So I actually downloaded about 8-10 articles, read them all in Bangalore's traffic. So Bangalore's traffic gives me that good amount of time to read through those articles, made my own notes, and that's how I came. So I would use AI only for clerical work in hospitals, even at this point of time, not in anything, because I simply don't trust it given the amount of hallucinations that I've had. Because the last thing I want is to be sitting here and telling something which is completely an hallucination. So that's why I mentioned others.
And a few more take-ups from that survey which we did was that, for sure, we know that this webinar was not an eye-opener for any of the faculty, because almost everyone is using AI, and no one has trained AI through their practice, and everyone has read and they've come to the webinar. No one has come unprepared. So I think a few things which I felt would make a little sense to highlight what we wanted to talk today.
Thank you. Thank you. So here's another, I'll just change the slide. Okay. So here's another short survey for the audience as well as the participants in this panel discussion. When processing submissions, how often are you happy with the use of AI tools? It's not about whether you are already using AI tools. It's about whether you are happy to use AI tools or not. We've just, okay.
I'm very happy to do AI.
For the full peer review, sir?
Peer review is what we have discussed in today's, and I think over the last 1 hour, there have been a lot of opinions. So I'm not saying for peer review. As an editor of a journal, I'm very cautious about legal implications. So we will have to add some disclaimers so that if a reviewer uses artificial intelligence, then the journal should not get into trouble.
Yes, absolutely.
So while the poll is going on, I think there's something called Penelope.ai, which apparently checks the structure of the manuscript and whether the structure is the same as the journal that you're going to publish. So I think those are certain tools which definitely reduce sort of the clerical time that one spends, or this time that one spends for all the formatting and checking. So
Yes.
definitely a lot of tools to reduce that time. And like Dr. Padmat said, it perhaps would motivate peer reviewers more if you tell them that this reduces your time on this, wherein you can use your intellect and faculties more on the scientific aspect and leave the remaining part, like in terms of the word count, the grammar, the structure, all those things.
Or even for that matter, the plagiarism check also.
True.
Some peer reviewers spend a lot of time unnecessarily doing the peer, plagiarism check, where plagiarism checking is not the task of the peer reviewer.
True.
Yeah. Okay. So we have at least 50% who say they are happy. I mean, they would like to have it as an aid to expert peer review. And we have 0% who say no way, not me. So yeah, so everybody is accepting that yes, we are ready to use AI in parts or in full, but yes, we are ready to use AI for peer reviewing. I'll stop sharing this now. The poll is still open. If you've taken this the QR code, you'll probably be able to take those questions. And no more questions. I now hand it over to Dr. Purvish to give a closing note.
Thank you, Natasha. While I'm giving the thank you note, you might like to look at the chat. There are some comments there if you want to reply to that.
Yes.
So, Natasha, first I have to thank you. You have done a fantastic job of moderating a very difficult situation. And I think all the panelists have given their opinion based on their own experience. It's not just, taking something out of the thin air. And therefore, having an editor, having people who are working on the editorial board from the publisher side, being a researcher, being a student, as well as the senior most medical oncologist that I can think of. We have a wide spectrum, and Natasha, being a professional medical writer, she has looked at every aspect of what is happening and what is there. So I must really thank everybody, and we hope that the discussion will be, distilled into a manuscript that can be published. So back to you, Natasha, in case you need to respond to any of the comments in the chat.
Yes, I'll just quickly go through the comments. So Mansi was asked by Bhagya what LLM she had suggested for prompting. So she's given a link to that LLM, I think, ChatGPT, Brainer AI.
Yeah,
So
I have not personally used it because I received the link yesterday itself from a professor, but yeah, I am waiting to use that.
Yeah. So I'll just write down the name of a person on LinkedIn. You could check his LinkedIn profile. He writes a lot about AI usage. So Mustaq
Pretty
Bilal is
active on X as well. His
Yes,
posts are like pretty viral on
yes.
academic research.
Yeah, I think he writes a lot about how you can generate good prompts or which AI tool is better than the other. So he writes a lot on AI tools in research specifically. So maybe it could be helpful to others. And yes, we do plan to write a paper on our discussion today. Also, we could plan a survey of peer reviewers, sir.
So I
Maybe.
would suggest that, out of sight, out of mind. So all the panelists should send a one pager to Natasha about whatever they feel very strongly about. If it doesn't come today, then you will forget it, and tomorrow you will get busy, and then it will not happen. So once you get all the responses from those who are interested in being co-authors, then you can, devise a survey, and then we will circulate.
Okay,
But
sure.
all the panelists, please make sure that you send one pager with the most important thoughts from your side to Natasha today itself. Thank you very much, everybody.
Mail ID again, so that in case you have not noted down my mail ID, it's here. Thank you, everyone, and thanks to the audience also for being with us. this recording would be uploaded on YouTube soon. And if you've registered for this webinar, you would probably be getting a link to the YouTube video also.
Just on a lighter note to Purvish sir, I think there's an AI companion recording the notes of this meeting. So all our opinions would already be in that note. And in fact, there are tech people who say sometimes that nowadays there are more AI companions attending the meeting than actual people. Thankfully, this was not one of those.
Yeah, so my request to the panelists is please still send your comments because you might have a different emphasis than what has been discussed. So one pager is required from all of you guys.
Sure, sir.
You might think of something new also. Please send it.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Kavina Creations team, for facilitating this webinar, and thank you all the participants. We hope that we will be able to invite you for the next version of whatever we are going to discuss in terms of medical publication and artificial intelligence. Finally, once more, I thank Natasha for doing such a fantastic job.
Thank you,
Thank you, sir.
We can close the meeting now. Thank you.
And for selecting a great panel.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Good night.
Good night.